Today, I'm going to show you how to take an app that you've built with your favorite agent, whether that's Codex or Claude Code, and put it online so people can actually open it, use it, and experience what you built. This is the first launch path from app to GitHub to server to Coolify, which is the equivalent of Vercel or Heroku, to a live production URL that your users can open. So a lot of us are building with AI now, and our numbers are increasing every day. But one of the common path or commonality that we all hit in terms of a wall is we build something, now we don't know where does it go. Where do we host it? How do people see it? How do I secure my deployment? So here's the path and what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to show you an app that I previously built and actually deployed on my company website. And that's this ROI calculator, which you can deploy from the resources section from Automato AI. Now, this application I originally built for version 2 of the website using Claude Code. But then when I built version 3 on the Astro framework, what I decided is I need a completely new, revamped, and rethemed ROI calculator. So this has an email automation in the background, and it's sort of a lead magnet as well as a useful tool that can help people make decisions or leads make decisions when they are reaching out to my company. And it's very interactive. It has a really nice design, as you can see, and it allows users to eventually put in their email, and it's going to send them an email. Now, this is hosted somewhere, because it's actually embedded. This is an embed code that is, we call it cores, that is essentially kind of limiting the application to be deployed to a specific URL. In this case, it's automato.ai, and you can't deploy this application anywhere. So, but it has to live somewhere. So it actually lives right here in GitHub. So this is the repo for it. It's a private repo that belongs to the organization. And then on the other end, it is actually deployed in Coolify right here. So this is my company's, one of my company's servers. And as you can see right here, it is actually deployed here. So there's a production environment for it, and it is deployed to a very specific URL. So I'm going to show you how to do all of this. It's very similar to Vercel. The difference is Vercel is a paid service. There are several limitations if you go to the free plan. And Coolify is the open source version of Vercel. So I'm going to show you guys how this works. Now, before I move on and talk too much about the difference between Vercel and Coolify and what GitHub is, let me explain to you what all of these components are and why they are important. So let me start off with GitHub. So let's talk about GitHub really quick. GitHub is where the app lives. It's a home for your app, for your code base to live. Think of it as the online home for your apps or files that go into the apps. Now, Hostinger gives us the server. A VPS is basically a rented computer on the internet. Why do I like Hostinger? Why do I champion Hostinger? Although I don't have any deal with Hostinger or anything like that, I'm just one of the affiliates and an avid user. I've been with Hostinger for maybe 4 years so far, because I've tried so many of their products. I'm a huge fan of their VPS servers. It's because really they're all about the server power. They offer really good services at a really good price, and the VPS service is really one of the best out there. And it's quite powerful, and they do give you API access, which is huge. Now, after we get Hostinger and we have a VPS server to host on, we need Coolify. It sits on the server that we get, and it lets us deploy apps without doing anything manual in the terminal. And eventually, the live app is the result. That's where people can actually go and use the application. So let's go ahead and start with step number 1, and that is going to be Hostinger. Now, there's a couple of ways you could do it. You could either go here and you could pay full price, or you could look in the description of the video, or if you're already a ProPy AI member, just go to the section where the affiliate links live and then click on my affiliate link, and then you will get 10 to 20% depending on the length of how long you want to subscribe. So you're going to get eventually, let's go ahead and go with KVM2. It's a great starting position if you're just getting started. This is exactly what you want to go with. So this is actually with no discount applied. This is for 2 years. So I'm going to show you with my coupon code what that's going to look like. Now, you don't need to understand every single server detail. The only thing you need to understand is this. If you want your app online, it needs a machine online, and that is what this VPS gives us. So you're essentially paying rent to Hostinger to get a virtual private server. That's what VPS stands for, by the way, so that your application can live somewhere. So GitHub is the home for your code and application files, and the VPS server is where that application can live and deploy. And then you will get a link from there, which is the live app, where people will see that deployment and can interact with it, can pay you money for subscriptions or whatever the case may be. So this, of course, applies for businesses on all different levels. And there's so many different types of applications that you could deploy there. But for today, we're going to show you like self-hosting for dummies. So I'm not going to get too technical. All right. So Hostinger VPS is, of course, paid, and the current prices are quite reasonable. So let me go ahead and hook you guys up with my affiliate link and give you an idea of how much of a discount you will get on the 24-month plan, which I highly recommend. It's a long-term investment and it just makes sense. So this is what you get on the 2-year plan. You're going to get about 20% off. So it's actually much better than I remember it was. So it's, yeah, you're going to get 20% off. And this is how much you're going to be paying total for 2 years, 24 months in total. So let's go ahead and do the math here. 184.69 divided by 24. That's $7.70 a month. That is really low rent to pay, especially if eventually your VPS is going to look like my VPS right here. Next up is GitHub. GitHub is not the app running online. It's where the app's files and code base lives. Now, Coolify needs somewhere to pull the app from, and that's why GitHub comes before Coolify. So I'm going to have you guys pass through the repo here one more time, just to get an idea of what this looks like. Now, I'm going to have you guys look at the repo one more time. So in here, this is the page that you get very first time you create a GitHub account. So don't worry about it. It's nothing that's, don't get intimidated by the code. You really shouldn't. Just go ahead and create an account with Google or Apple or however you'd like to authenticate and just go from there. It's quite straightforward. And then eventually, what you're going to get is a profile that looks similar to this. So this is my profile right here. You get achievements as you contribute to code bases here and then this is something similar to Skool. Those of you who have Skool communities, this idea was originally borrowed from GitHub. And this is what it looks like right here. Yeah, that's pretty much what that is. So you click on repositories and you can see your repos right here. If you're not running this for a business, then you could just create a private account. But then after you create a private account and you do have a business, then you could go ahead and create what's called an organizational account. You just click here, organizations, and then you could create a new organization account. So you can click right here and create it. I already have mine. This is for my business right here. And then we have a difference of repos, some of them client projects, some of them internal. Not all of our repos or not all of your repos as a business owner have to be private and on GitHub. Some can stay internal. That really depends on the type of app you're building. But that is pretty much what GitHub offers. All right, moving on. Now, once we have the VPS set up and our GitHub account ready, we need a way to manage these deployments. And this is where Coolify comes in. Now, I already made a comprehensive setup walkthrough before showing you guys how to install Coolify on a VPS. So I'm going to reference that instead of turning this into a full server installation course. And then I'm going to cut out a specific part and then come back in and take it from there. Next up is GitHub. GitHub is not the app running online. It's where the app's files and code base lives. Now, Coolify needs somewhere to pull the app from, and that's why GitHub comes before Coolify. So I'm going to have you guys pass through the repo here one more time, just to get an idea of what this looks like. Now, I'm going to have you guys look at the repo one more time. So in here, this is the page that you get very first time you create a GitHub account. So don't worry about it. It's nothing that's, don't get intimidated by the code. You really shouldn't. Just go ahead and create an account with Google or Apple or however you'd like to authenticate and just go from there. It's quite straightforward. And then eventually, what you're going to get is a profile that looks similar to this. So this is my profile right here. You get achievements as you contribute to code bases here and then this is something similar to Skool. Those of you who have Skool communities, this idea was originally borrowed from GitHub. And this is what it looks like right here. Yeah, that's pretty much what that is. So you click on repositories and you can see your repos right here. If you're not running this for a business, then you could just create a private account. But then after you create a private account and you do have a business, then you could go ahead and create what's called an organizational account. You just click here, organizations, and then you could create a new organization account. So you can click right here and create it. I already have mine. This is for my business right here. And then we have a difference of repos, some of them client projects, some of them internal. Not all of our repos or not all of your repos as a business owner have to be private and on GitHub. Some can stay internal. That really depends on the type of app you're building. But that is pretty much what GitHub offers. All right, moving on. Now, once we have the VPS set up and our GitHub account ready, we need a way to manage these deployments. And this is where Coolify comes in. Now, I already made a comprehensive setup walkthrough before showing you guys how to install Coolify on a VPS. So I'm going to reference that instead of turning this into a full server installation course. And then I'm going to cut out a specific part and then come back in and take it from there. Let's make sure that you're ready today. In this video, I'll set you up with your own instance of N8N in under 10 minutes for under $7 a month using Hostinger's VPS running Coolify, the free and open source version of Vercel. If that sounds like rocket science to you, don't worry. I'm going to show you how easy it really is. It's private, reliable, scalable, and most importantly, requires little to no code. By the end of this video, you'll learn how to spin up a low-cost server on Hostinger, install Coolify, deploy your own N8N instance, put it on a secure web address, and test it end to end. Total time is under 10 minutes. The total cost is less than a cup of coffee. Coolify is a free and open source equivalent of Heroku or Vercel that you can host and manage on your own server. One simple dashboard, automatic HTTPS, and easy deploys. You run N8N on it today, and later you can add other apps on the same server without stacking new subscriptions and accruing technical debt. Overall, it's a great way to keep your costs down. Hostinger, one of the best, if not the best investment in a VPS server to self-host your. Start with Hostinger's VPS 2 so things stay fast and consistent. All right, so after you've added KVM2 to your cart, notice that you can choose the length of your subscription. Now to lock in the most amount of savings, I highly suggest you go with the 24-month plan. Hostinger went the extra mile and sweetened the deal with a .cloud domain that you can connect to your new VPS. By default, Hostinger chooses the server location that has the lowest latency, which means it's the closest to you. And that's the option that we're going to stick with for this build. The next step from here is to go ahead and choose the operating system. We're going to search for Coolify. As soon as you see it pop up, just click on it and click confirm. The next step would be to either register your account with Hostinger, but if you already have an account, just go ahead and log in with that. The first thing you're going to be prompted to do is enter your billing information and then complete the checkout process. After that, you'll automatically be prompted into the configuration tab for your new VPS instance. And from here, you can choose new products or add new add-on products. These usually come in for free. After that, you're going to be prompted to create a root password. Very important that you do this now. You can enter your VPS hostname now, or you could do this later. And if you're an advanced user, you already know what SSH keys are. You can create one. If you're not, don't worry about it. It is not essential for this build. All right, now we can see our dashboard. Now there's a lot of bells and whistles here, but I don't want you to worry about any of these. We're going to take care of only the essentials to get you up and running so that you could run your N8N instance in no time. The first thing we're going to do is just click on Manage Panel right here on the top right, and this is going to take you inside of your Coolify instance. Now, once you do this, if you look at the address bar in your browser, you're going to notice there's an IP address. And if you reference this back with the IP address where you see SSH root at and then an IP address, that's actually the IP address to your VPS server. Now, we're going to change that in a moment by updating our DNS settings so that you can access your Coolify instance by going to a subdomain, for example, cloud.yourwebsite.com. All right, welcome to your Coolify dashboard. Now, since we're inside, you can see that there's a lot to look at here to the left, but the first thing we're going to focus on is the settings tab. So go ahead and click on settings, and under configuration, by default, it should already be clicked on general. And then from there, go ahead and input the subdomain that you want to connect or configure with your website's DNS settings. So this is going to be the domain that you will type into your browser anytime and every time you want to access your Coolify instance. So add a name after that. Now, if you try to tap save, you're going to notice that an error is going to pop up. That's because we haven't yet connected the IP address of your VPS server to your DNS settings, which is the next step. Open up your DNS settings panel wherever your domain is hosted, and then go to the Manage DNS section. We're going to add 2 Type A records. They're going to look something like this. The Cloud A record is intended to point towards your Coolify instance, and the second record is what's known as a wildcard domain. We're going to create a Type A record, name it Cloud, then we are going to copy our server's IP address. We're going to paste it in the points 2 section and update the TTL to 600. Now we're going to do the same for the wildcard domain. Type in the name *apps, then repeat the same process, and then you are good to go. As soon as you tap add record, you can go back and in a new browser window, just type in cloud.yourdomain.com, and congratulations, you've officially installed Coolify on your secure domain. All right, now that we have our infrastructure deployed and good to go, let's go back into Coolify since we've already set it up. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click right here on sources to the left, and then we're going to click add. Now, this is assuming we've already worked with our agent. So I'm going to open an example window right here. This is actually the window I use to work again or rework or remix, let's say, the ROI calculator from the work that Claude Code did here in Codex. So I worked in this window right here, and I went back and forth. And as you can see, it gave me a plan. I said execute, and then it created this plan. And then eventually I went ahead and decided to place it in a private app. So basically, I have Codex connected via an MCP, which is just using one of the Codex connectors to my GitHub. So I just asked the agent to create a private repo, provision a private repo, and put the code base in the organization since I gave it full access to my GitHub. And you could do the same with Claude Code. And now the code base lives as in where I showed you guys before. So it's one of the repos here on the organization. And so now we're going to connect it to Coolify. So I'm going to say this is ROI calculator v2. And now here, I'm going to write the name of the organization exactly as it is on GitHub. And as long as I don't have any teammates or collaborators here on Coolify, I'm not going to check this. And we are using self-hosted, but we're not using enterprise. So we're going to ignore this part. We're just going to click continue. So now what it's asking to do is use the webhook endpoint. Now, to keep this very simple and non-technical, you don't have to worry about all these options from the drop-down menu. And the reason I have them blurred is because the IP address for the VPS is going to come up, and you should always keep that private. And what you want to do is whatever the domain you use to log in or to host Coolify, that is what you want as your webhook endpoint. So I'm just going to keep it as the default, so I'm just going to click register. And then right here, it's going to say confirm access. Now it wants me to authenticate using my phone. So I'm just going to go to my phone. I see the notification, and this is where you want to make sure you have the GitHub application on your phone. And there it is. You're going to see it right there. So just enter that number. You click approve. And as soon as you get that approval, everything's going to automatically move from here. Just stay with the name as it is right here, click create. And now you're going to click install repositories on GitHub. You click that and then click select only selected repositories, choose the specific one. You could go ahead and search for it right here. I'm just going to tap in ROI. Here it is. And you tap install. Now it's already installed. So I'm going to delete this after, but I just want to show you guys what it looks like. I'm going to tap save. So this is V2. Let's go back here to sources. Now you see that it added a new one for me. And let's see, where's the original one? Okay, this is the original one. This is the example. Now we're going to go back to projects, and then we're going to click add. We're going to name it, we can use capital letters here, so that's going to be fine. We're going to say ROI CLC webinar, and we're going to click next. Add resource. And from the options right here, you're going to see private repository with a GitHub app. Click that and now choose the default one, which is Coolify network, and then choose which source you want. So this is it right here. We're going to see our source. That means we've installed it correctly. You click that. And as long as everything is good to go, you're just going to click load repository. And this one is a Docker app. So usually single files or like mono, I think they're called mono repos. You choose Nix packs. This is for like certain types of applications, not all of them. For most of the applications you're going to be deploying on Coolify, you're going to be choosing Docker. So we're going to go with Docker file. And you want to make sure that this is in fact the base directory, but you can make updates to it as you go along. And here it is. So this is not deployed yet. If there are any environment variables, this is where you go in and put in the environment variables. You could always go to developer view, and usually they're going to look like something like env secret, for example, equals, and then there's going to be like an API key. So this is where you have API keys, Firebase secrets if you're deploying to Google, so on, so on. For the most part, in the future on PPA, if you go to ProPy AI, I'm going to dive deeper into this, show you how easy this really is. Like this is just a manual way to do it. There is an automated way to do this, safe and secure way to do this. But again, this is like introduction into self-hosting. So self-hosting for dummies. Again, I'm not going to get too technical with you. I'm not trying to scare you away from it. I want you to lean into it and see how easy this really is. And it's really a joy because, you know, the more you do this, the more you see you can cut costs as a business owner. And then you're going to start asking yourself, like, why have I been paying for all these subscriptions for years when I could just do it myself? And, you know, some people are going to say, well, oh, it's the security aspect. Well, it's like, haven't you seen what's going on, all the supply chain attacks? And now you have Mythos and all the AI agents introducing security scanners and things along those lines. Like, it's just the norm of the world we live in now. And if the rest of the world is catching up to security standards or brushing up under security hygiene, so can you. You know, we have the benefit of being small and nimble, and we don't have the bureaucratic nightmare to deal with, such as major corporations or the enterprise world. So you can be flexible and figure out your security quite easy. And that's actually something I dive into inside of ProPy AI. So by next week, you're going to see a bunch of new courses coming up specifically for self-hosting, because I know that's a big pain for you guys. So this is why I brought you this. So after you go ahead and set your environment variables, you figure everything out here, and then you figure out your domain. So here you can put the domain you want to deploy to. And then after you're done, you just click deploy. You're going to see a terminal pop up and automatically a bunch of code like the matrix start trickling down. And then here it's going to tell you if the deployment is healthy or not. So let me show you an example of a healthy deployment. Let's see. So this is one of the healthy deployments I have here. This is the auto voice agent. You click here, and then as soon as you get in, it says running healthy. And look how neat and organized everything is right here. This is what it's supposed to look like. It's that simple. So at the end, you click here, and it really depends on the deployment, right? So this, if you go to my company website, this is the voice agent right here. This is Auto. So you can go ahead and have a conversation, essentially talk about what you're looking for. With Auto, you can chat in multiple different languages. Let's see. Yeah, but if you click here, it's going to tell you that the origin is not allowed. And that's because you're not supposed to open it on the subdomain. It's just client-facing only or lead-facing only for the website. So there's many ways to deploy these applications. It really depends on your use case. And again, if we go to ROI calculator right here, you're going to see right here, you have the ROI calculator and fully functional. Nobody would ever know where it's deployed unless you show them in a webinar. So that is essentially it. So this was the first launch pad. It's not the final production step. There's a lot in PPA in terms of advanced courses where I'm going to go deeper into domains, SSL, security, environment variables, backups, and how to make things more professional. So if you've been sitting on an app idea because hosting felt too technical, this is the path. This is the way. Build the thing, put it in Git, deploy it with Coolify, and get it online. Guys, I've been Ned Malky. This is another public webinar that's open to all, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. I always enjoy doing these things when I get the time, and as promised, a lot of you guys have been asking inside of PPA. Here you go. This is your intro, and the courses are coming because you asked for them. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.